You know, coming into this year with the new next gen car, I never thought I'd say that intermediate tracks, mile and a half, are so much better than short tracks. We have a lot to talk about after Kansas. Hey guys, NASCAR Mobile 48 back again. We're back to another episode of NRR. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the 2022 Advent Health 400 from the Kansas Speedway. What a race it was indeed. Just intermediate tracks. They're my favorite now. They have regained my respect as like the favorites thanks to the next gen car. But anyway, Toyota, they put on their best performance of the season. Chevy was still pretty good. Ford was kind of a no-show here today, so that's a bit concerning for that manufacturer. But before we go ahead and begin with this review, we're going to take a look at our top 10 finishers. We're going to also rate the race. We're also going to talk about our biggest story of the race, our drivers of the day, and then finally end this off. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into this video. Finishing in first was Kurt Busch. What a race for Kurt Busch indeed. Unfortunately, he did not win the pole, but he definitely had one of the fastest Toyotas or just cars overall all weekend long. Fast in practice, fast in qualifying still. He was running really well. He led the most laps. He won stage 2. Him and Kyle Larson were duking it out at one point in stage 3. Kurt Busch was definitely just one of those guys up there for the win, and he ended up getting the win at Kansas after he's finished second at Kansas twice, and now he finally gets a win here. His last 4 wins have been at mile and a half racetracks when it goes back to Kentucky in 2019, 2020 Vegas, 2021 Atlanta, and now 2022 Kansas. So is Kurt Busch a one win a year guy? We'll see for the rest of the season. But anyway, this was his 34th career win. This is 2311 Racing's second win as an organization, tying them with Trackhouse now. Also, Kurt Busch's first win for Toyota, meaning he has won for 5 teams and 4 different manufacturers. That's actually a pretty good milestone if you think about it. And also, another fun fact, first win for the 45 car since Leroy Yarborough in 1964 back in Greenville, Pickens, which does not exist anymore. Didn't exist since 1971 and still, but still it's really good for Kurt Busch because the last few races have just not been it for him. I mean, his last top 10 finish was back at Martinsville where he finished 6th, but ever since then he's finished 32nd at Bristol Dirt, 16th at Talladega, 31st at Dover, 28th last week at Darlington, and finally gets a win here. So really good for Kurt Busch in the 45 team. Let's see how they go from here on out. Finishing second was Kyle Larson. If anyone has a counter of how many times Larson has hit the wall, please tell me. I think he hit it, 6, 7 times, but still, Kyle Larson had a good race. He was definitely up in contention. He was definitely the best Chevy out here today, in my honest opinion. He had one of the best cars. He was just going at it with Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch. It's just that they kind of beat him. I mean, Larson had a bit of a better car than Kyle Busch. It was kind of dead even, but then Kurt Busch, of course, he had a better car than him because Larson hit the wall a ton of times in stage 3. Heck, he had a really crazy save at the beginning of stage 2 when he was going against Kurt Busch, and he was still able to hang on to it and still continue to battle for the lead. So that was actually some pretty cool dirt racing experience from the 5 car of Kyle Larson, but still a really good race for Kyle Larson and the 5 team. Their first top 5 since Talladega last month, so a nice solid second place finish for the 5 team. Finishing in third was Kyle Busch. Also just want to say congrats to Kyle Busch and Samantha Busch on the birth of their new child, a beautiful baby girl. So happy for him and his wife. After all they've been through and stuff, they finally have their kids. So really congratulations for Kyle Busch and even his son and Samantha Busch and just the entire Busch family. But anyway, back to Kyle Busch for him during the race. He had a really good start to the race. He won stage 1. He was hanging in there and stuff, and then he had a decent finish in stage 2. But unfortunately, Kyle Busch had a penalty. I believe it was a speeding penalty at the end, in the beginning of stage 3. So that does suck for the 18 team. And he also, for some weird reason, he was very close to his pit wall during one of the pit stops early in the race. So that kind of backfired for them. But there was still a lot of racing to go, and he was able to rebound, get a nice solid 3rd place finish. He was definitely battling with his brother and Kyle Larson, so it was the Busch and Busch show and the Kyle and Kyle show all in one race. So that was actually something interesting to watch. So really good race by Kyle Busch and the 18 team, getting a nice solid 3rd place finish. Finishing in 4th was Denny Hamlin? Wait, Hamlin actually got a top 5? What? No way. This can't be real. Where's the hidden camera show? I mean, there's a camera right here, but still, what? Okay, Denny Hamlin finishes fourth. I don't know what the heck happened, but anyway, jokes aside, Hamlin gets fourth. Finally, he gets a top 5 finish without having to win a race. Because I thought if the only top 5, top 10 he get is if he won, but no, he finally gets his top 5 finish. So technically, yeah, his first top 5 finish without having to get a win and stuff, and their first top 5, top 10, whatever you call it, since their win back at Richmond. So really good for Denny Hamlin. He struggled off to start in the race. I think he had a tire issue in practice yesterday, so that definitely backfired. They had to start 18th in today's race, but they were starting to gain throughout the pack and stuff. But then he had a penalty on pit road, so something to even just talk about. Hamlin and his team, they have to get the pit road stuff dealt with right now, because that's the only thing holding him back right now from these issues. Because Darlington, without those pit road issues, it could have been a different situation in the last race, and even at Dover. But anyway, Hamlin gets the top 5, so that's really good for him. And apparently, I did not know this, but he still has Chris Gabart because they appealed that penalty of that tire coming out in Dover. So we'll see if that stands. But as of right now, Chris Gabart is still on the pit box. But still really good for Denny Hamlin in the 11 team to finally get a top 5 finish. Finally. So does things turn around for Denny Hamlin? We'll see. I mean, he got 2 good things in one day. Both 2311 cars finishing in the top 10, one getting a win and him getting a top 5. So we'll see if the luck can continue for Hamlin going into Texas next week. And rounding out the top 5 and 5th was pole sitter Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell got his third pole of the season. He got one back in Vegas, Talladega, and for Kansas and stuff. So he's really had one of the fastest cars all weekend long, and he definitely had one here today. He was going at it for the lead at one point, and then he was just mostly like a top 5 car, a top 10 car, because really there weren't really he just couldn't put up a fight against like Busch, Larson, and the other Busch and stuff. But still a nice strong finish for Christopher Bell. That's what, 3 straight top 10 finishes for the 20 team, so that's really good for him. And also coming to the end the last pit stop before stage 1 ended, Bell apparently had a tire down coming into pit road and stuff, and he didn't get any stage points, unfortunately, but he rebounded from that because that happened so much earlier in the race and gets a top 5 at the end of the day. So really good for Bell and the 20 team. Finishing in 6th was Mark Truex Jr. Truex gets a nice solid 6th place finish here today. He was a pretty decent driver. He had a top 10 car, in my opinion. He just had to fight his way through a lot of traffic with just some other drivers he had to pass through. He was mostly inside the top 15 for a good amount of a while and stuff. And then at the end of stage 2, with like 2 to go, he had a tire down coming to the end of stage 2, and he stayed on the track instead of going to pit road, so he would stay on the lead lap and stuff. So that was a good plan by Truex. It was a bit of a risky move, but hey, it all ended there. So Truex still got stayed on the lead lap, and he was able to rebound and get a 6th place finish. Finishing in 7th was Ross Chastain. Nothing really to say for Ross Chastain. He's had a decent race and stuff. Nothing really too exciting. He didn't have the fastest car. He wasn't the most dominant, but he still had a pretty decent car. So it shows that even when he isn't the fastest, or even just coming off a wreck from last week, he can still be pretty consistent. So he's really turning into one of those consistent drivers that we see now today in the Cup Series. So really good for Chastain, getting a nice solid 7th place finish. Finishing in 8th was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. What a month of May it has been for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He finishes 2nd at Dover, 8th at Darlington last week, and then 8th again today. Just, I don't know what to say. So if you actually do that, his average finish in May is 9. So that's really good for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and the 47 team. They just got to keep it up. Nice solid consistency, because like I said before, the last 3 races of April were like 27th, 29th, 30th. The first 3 races of May have been 2nd, 8th, and 8th. So really good consistency that we're seeing out of the 47 team. Let's see if they can keep it up. Finishing in 9th was Alex Bowman. Bowman had a really solid race, in my opinion. He was up there in the top 10 overall. He didn't have the best car. He didn't have a top 5 car, but definitely had like a top 10 car. He had to overcome, from being a lap down when Kevin Harvick spun out and stuff. He had something on his grill, so Bowman was really careful with that, making sure it didn't mess up anything in the car. But they came back from that and get a 9th place finish to end off the day. And rounding out the top 10 and 10th was Bubba Wallace. Finally, Bubba Wallace gets a top 10 finish once again. This is his second top 10 finish. His first one since the Daytona 500. But still, a top 10's a top 10. Really good for him. His teammate getting the win. His boss getting a top 5. And Bubba Wallace getting a nice, solid top 10 finish. It could have been a whole much better finish for Bubba Wallace and stuff, but I believe it was the second to last pit stop. He had a penalty. I think the tire went off. So yeah, just the pit crew, it's their fault. Nothing to do on Bubba Wallace. He was just driving the car and stuff. So really good effort from Bubba Wallace to come back from that. He had to restart at the back of the field and comes back to get a 10th place finish. So really good rebound for the 2311 racing team. And now let's rate this race. Like I said before, intermediate tracks have just gotten so much better thanks to the new car, thanks to the new package. It's just been so good. Like, Auto Club was good, Vegas was good, and this race was good. So just really goodness going all around and stuff. So if I had to rate this one, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10, hands down. Would I say it was better than Vegas? Just by a little bit and stuff, but it was still a fantastic race indeed. Now, seeing this type of racing, I'm really looking forward to Texas Motor Speedway. Really looking forward to Texas Motor Speedway. So we'll see how Texas will go for the All-Star race. Unfortunately, I will not be going to Texas this All-Star race again, but I'm looking to go to Texas in September for the playoff race. Also, maybe going to Nashville this summer, but we'll see. It's kind of 50-50 on that. But back to the rating, I'm going to give it a 9.5 rating and stuff. Let me know what you guys would give it in the comment section below. Alright, so now for the biggest story of the race is Goodyear ran off a cliff. It's like, I'm actually not going to bring up that disaster because it was actually pretty bad. But anyway, the Goodyear blimp, I don't know what happened to that thing today. I don't know what's just wrong with the tires all day. First of all, let's start off with practice. Practice yesterday, we had a couple left rear problems. It all started with Chris Buescher. He had a left rear go down. He backed into the wall. He had to go to a backup car. Same thing with Joey Logano. Logano, the left rear just went out. He spun out, hit the wall in turns 3 and 4, and then that was a backup car. Some people say it's karma from last week, but who knows? Anyway, and then finally, my boy Stenhouse, who actually came back and got a top 10 finish, he also had a tire problem as he just hit the wall as well, just like the other two drivers. So that's what happened in practice. But in the actual race, it got even crazier. So let's all start off with just Daniel Suarez. I feel so bad for my guy Daniel Suarez. He was having such a good run. Such a good run. And then just the tire goes out. His car goes head on into the wall. The damage wasn't really that bad, but it was definitely enough to take him out of contention. So my boy Daniel Suarez ends up with the 33rd place finish. Then William Byron had a tire go down from the lead. From the race lead, he has a tire go down. So that was just unfortunate for him. No caution came out, but Byron, it wasn't really all that bad for him. He got a 16th place finish later during the day, and that happened in stage 1 and stuff. Also, like I said before, Christopher Bell had a tire going down, coming to pit road and stuff, but it doesn't matter for him. He was able to get a top 5. Chase Elliott had a tire go down towards the end of the race, and unfortunately for the 9 team, Chase Elliott was only able to get a 29th place finish. And then finally, Eric Jones finishes 32nd because the right rear tire was just stuck. They could not get it off. It was like the center lock lug nut. It was something else about it. They just could not get it off. Jones's crew was just pulling everything out of their toolbox, from saws to like butchering knives or just anything or wrenches, just trying to get that right rear tire off the car. And it was not working. It was not working, ladies and gentlemen. It was not working, so I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, it does suck for Eric Jones because they had that whole montage of them trying to get the tire off. Eventually, they just had to cut the wheel off, and then cut the tire off and the wheel off and pull it off, and then they were able to get it off. It put them 7 laps down, but it was worth it at the end. Their crew was happy about that, but it just sucks for Eric Jones. Nothing he could do about it. So they started 22nd. They were running pretty well outside the top 10, inside the top 10 a bit, and end up getting 32nd. Speaking of which, that even brings us to our drivers of the day, the unlucky driver of the day. It was a toss-up between the 99, the 8, but I'm going to have to give it to Eric Jones because it is the unlucky driver of the day. Reddick, I mean, I know some debris got into his grill, which made his car loose, and that gave him damage and stuff. Same thing with Suarez, just the tire went out, so there's nothing he could do about that. But there was especially nothing Eric Jones could do about that tire just getting stuck. It just sucked for the 43 team and stuff. Jones was just sitting in the car for what, 7 laps, and then they finally got it off, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway because he was 7 laps down and finished 32nd. So that does suck for Eric Jones in the 43 team because he looks like a driver that can point his way into the playoffs, but after an incident like that, he's going to need some luck on his side and possibly a win to get into the playoffs right now, but we'll see how the playoff standings look after this one. Now for Underdog Driver of the Day, I'm going to have to give it to my boy Noah Gragson. No race this weekend for the Xfinity Series, so he was able to take the honor of driving the 16 car and stuff. This was the first time he's been in the 16 since what? I believe it. Yeah, it was Bristol Dirt, and he finished 27th. He gets 18th here today. His first top 20. Actually, no, not his first top 20. Just 18th place. So that it's not his first top 20, but it is his best finish in the Cup Series today. 18th place finish. So really good job by Colic Racing and Noah Gragson just to have a nice solid finish for the weekend because he's off. But it does suck that his teammate Justin Haley had an electrical problem and he finished P35. But still, I'd say the Underdog Driver of the Day, I'll have to give it to Noah Gragson. Alright, now for comeback driver of the day, it's kind of hard to say because these these 4 drivers all had to come back from something. Like I already said, with Bubba Wallace, he had a penalty, 2 pit stops ago before the end of the race where the tire went off and stuff. No, not the tire going off, but the tire rolled off out of his box and stuff. So that put him in a bad spot and stuff, but he was able to rebound, get a nice solid 10th place finish. Kyle Busch, he pitted and he was very close to his wall, so it kind of slowed down the pit stop because it was just slower to do it. It was harder to do it, and he had a speeding penalty at the end of stage 2, but he rebounded, got a 3rd place finish. Denny Hamlin also had another penalty on pit road. I think it was either a speeding penalty and it was also something else. Like he also had another issue and stuff, so that put him behind the 8 ball, but he was able to get a top 5. Also, go back to Bubba Wallace. He also had another penalty earlier in the race and stuff. So 2 penalties for Bubba Wallace and for not for Kyle Busch. 1 just mistake and 1 penalty. 2 penalties for Hamlin, and then 1 just nothing Truex could do and stuff. I mean, he rebounded on the last restart from from the top 15 to get a top 10 and stuff. But it happened earlier. It was at the end of stage 2 to where tire went down with 2 laps to go, and then it did suck for Stenhouse Jr. having to limp it around and stuff, but they were able to rebound and get a top 10. Heck, even Christopher Bell back here, who had a tire go down going to pit road. I mean, it was all fine for him and stuff because they were going to pit road and stuff. But I have to say, comeback drivers of the day is just Team Toyota. And then finally, just overall driver of the day, I just got to give it to Kurt Busch. Hands down, Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch had possibly one of the best cars and stuff. You could arguably say it was Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson. Maybe Christopher Bell because he had the fastest, but I'd say Kurt Busch and stuff. He led the most laps, and he beat the champion. He beat the last season's champion for the race win. So really good job for Kurt Busch and for 23XI Racing. They're definitely going to be celebrating this one. This is 23XI Racing's first win on a 1.5-mile racetrack. So really good for the team overall. So yeah, that's it for that. Let's go ahead and head on over to the outro. And so that would do it for today's video. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. If you guys want to check out my gaming channel, NASCAR Gaming 48, link will be down in the description below. I just uploaded a video yesterday on the channel, so make sure you guys go check it out. And I really appreciate all the support on the channel. So if you guys are missing stuff on the channel, please link in the description and go subscribe over to there so you don't miss anything. Want to check out my Instagram, link will also be down in the description below. And subscribe to this channel. Really appreciate the recent subscribers. We're really close to 200 subs, so let's keep the numbers going up, guys. I really do appreciate you all. But yeah, that's gonna do it for that. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't think I'll be headed out to the Texas All-Star race and stuff because I'm going out of town for like a graduation and stuff, so it does suck right there. But hey, it is what it is. Still gonna possibly go to a couple other races this season and stuff. So yeah, that's gonna do it for that. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. This is NASCAR Mobile 48. Peace out.